Hello everyone and good morning. Welcome to Real News Monday Morning. I'm your host, Sarah Strackhouse. We'll give you the rundown of what you need to know this week. To start, happy President's Day. We all mostly know it as a day off, but what does it really mean? History.com says President's Day is an American holiday celebrated on the third Monday in February. Originally established in 1885 in recognition of President George Washington, it is still officially called Washington's birthday by the federal government. Now popularly viewed as a day to celebrate all U.S. presidents, past and present. Some notable stories last week that you may still be talking about this week. Of course, we're still hearing about that deadly high school shooting in Florida where 17 people were killed. We spoke with former NRA host and Alexo Athletica CEO Amy Robbins on mental health.
So we're not continuing to ask more specific questions such as, okay, well, what illness constitutes a mental illness that would actually keep you from getting a firearm? Right. How are we going to implement that every single person in the United States actually gets a mental health background check?
As well as 30-year police force veteran with 15 years of SWAT under his belt, Chamberlain, on the idea of gun control. Both of these conversations can be seen on our RNCN Facebook page. We've also been following the Olympics. Last Tuesday, 17-year-old Gerard took home the first gold medal for the U.S. in this year's Winter Olympics, but Yahoo reports he almost missed his run. He is a snowboarder after he slept through his alarm after binge watching Netflix the night before. Luckily, a friend woke him up after he slept through that alarm. And here in Dallas, Pamela Gayle, Chief Happiness Officer of the Secret Society of Happy People, was handing out $20 bills Monday at Clyde Warren Park as a random act of kindness, but the caveat was that you had to do something nice with it. And Chamberlain, chef and owner of Chamberlain restaurants, was giving advice on how to basically stay out of the doghouse if you didn't celebrate on Valentine's Day. He always says there's always the weekend after. That's what he and his wife have done. Valentine's is usually a packed house at good restaurants in the area.
We'll do over 1,000 people on Valentine's night between the two restaurants.
Chef and restaurant owner Richard Chamberlain has owned Chamberlain's Fish Market Grill in Addison for 17 years and Chamberlain's Steak and Chop House in Dallas just down the road for 25 years. And he's been married for 29 years.
My wife and I met here in Dallas. She was working for a high-end hotel group and I was a chef. And her and a friend came in to have a drink in our bar. And I walked out to say hi to my friend and met her and immediately thought, wow, what a knockout.
A year later, and they were engaged. But as a chef and restaurant owner, Richard knows it's more than just that one night. It's a celebration of love.
Just because I work on Valentine's doesn't mean I don't need to do something really special for her the morning of. And then we usually go out either a couple of days after or the weekend before or the weekend after.
And he's not alone in that. Reuters reports that 46% of millennials have been open to pushing Valentine's Day off until after the actual holiday.
There's so many reasons to go out for Valentine's, and really, you can do it the whole week long. It still counts.
While you were sleeping, Jeff Crilly was getting the actual rundown ready for you. Here's what's on today's list. It's funeral after funeral in sunny Florida, like an emotional marathon for survivors of that school shooting. Tuesday live at 2 p.m., we'll talk to licensed professional counselor Lee Richardson about what's the best way to reset when the stress of negative news stories starts to take a toll. Next on the rundown, brokers have some new weapons at their disposal aimed to fight the financial fraud against our elderly. Private wealth advisor Derek Kinney talks about some of the new rules and how to spot red flags. And lastly, the flu is still a major issue across the country and flying could make it even worse. Infectious disease expert Mark Warner talks about the ways to keep yourself and your family safe. Over the weekend and looking into the week ahead of us, Fox News reports the White House says Trump is backing efforts to improve federal gun background checks. He plans to hold listening sessions with high school students this week. And CNN reports that the Women's March organizers are pushing students and teachers to protest gun violence on March 14th by walking out of class in order to demand that Congress takes legislative action on gun control. We'll continue to follow that up and that conversation throughout the week. And are you suffering from insomnia? Well, it's actually more common than you might think. And the stuff you're doing right now in bed right before may be the cause as well. Tuesday at 2 p.m., we're live with the Brain Performance Center founder and clinical director, Lee Richardson. You can ask questions and have them all answered live on our feed on RNCN. And today, you can watch alpine skiing, biathlon, bobsled, cross-country, curling, figure skating, free skiing, hockey, ski jumping, snowboarding, and of course, speed skating in the Olympics. And don't forget, these are just some of the highlights of the last week over the weekend and this week to come. Don't forget to join us for Real News Talk on the RNCN YouTube page live at 11:30, or look for it here posted on the RNCN Facebook page to hear more on what's trending today with Josh Hart, Zach Lewis, and Matt Stoker. Good morning, everyone. We're back. Sarah Stackhouse here with Josh Hart. We're talking a little bit podcast, Real News Talk, what you need to know. So what is on the docket for today or this week, Josh?
Well, first thing this morning, we're talking about, during the lunch break show on Real News Talk, we're talking about the very awkward song that Fergie did for the national anthem for the All-Star game last night.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird when I saw it. It sounded like she was trying to do something a little sort of Mr. President or something like that.
Yeah, very Marilyn Monroe. I played it for my wife, who's she's a moderate Fergie fan, and she tried to buy into it at first, but by the end, where everyone else was kind of laughing at her on the court, she kind of gave in. Like, yeah, she's trying to be way too artistic. It's not a sexy song. It's not. So you kind of have to realize that just do your song and kind of get out. So that's topic number one today, and I would love to have you guys feedback on that too.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's tell us what time that is.
It's going to be from 11:30 to around 1 o'clock today.
Okay. And people can follow along on Facebook or YouTube, or what's the best way?
Yeah, right now we're on YouTube because we have a lot of kinks to kind of figure out. So we're getting the sound and how to turn things up and turn things down. Going live with a broadcast is sometimes a little bit tricky. So as we figure out the quirks, we don't want to bother our Facebook fans. So we'll be live on YouTube, though.
Okay, perfect. And then there's a lot of fun podcasts kind of going on this week, right?
Yeah, we have another episode of Working Title with Zach Sams, who's all things real estate coming up here in Dallas and Frisco. I know we have another podcast from the Frisco lifestyle coming in as well. A lot of fun stuff always happening downstairs. You guys need to check it out. It's at realnewscn.com.
That's perfect. And we have a comment here. Oh, Vincent Nicholas says it was terrible, the song.
Golly, yeah. Again, like she started off, okay, you know what? I can kind of buy into this. And then toward the end.
Some people do it a little jazzy.
Yeah, and then toward the end, it just got more weird and more. You know what? I actually looked up the top 10 fails of the national anthem. And so far, Cuba Gooding Jr. Sr. is the worst, but she definitely will make the top 10 moving forward.
And I wonder, like you said, that song's not really, a funky song. There's not a ton of ways to jazz it up, and I know that people try to jazz it up a little bit here and there, but it was just a little bit too much.
Yeah, and when the players on the court can't stop from laughing at you, you know that's a bad sign.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, is there anything also last week that people should be kind of catching up on?
Well, we have a lot of shows that aired last week. Let's see. It's kind of hard to kind of name just one or two that stand out.
So many.
Yeah, you have so many. But you definitely need to hop online to the Real News. Actually, go to our Facebook page. It's probably the best place to find all the live content as they come out.
Okay, perfect. I love that. All right, well, Josh Hart, thank you for joining us. Anything else you want to tell people to tune in, what to tune into, or any way that they can, if they have a funny trending story, that they can be like, oh, we want to hear you talk about this?
Yeah, so the best thing that you could possibly do is either email me at joshhart@realnewspr.com, or you can go to the YouTube page, and while we're live, give us a comment, and we'll read that, and then we can interact with you live on the YouTube channel.
Okay, and who's all commentating on this, the Real News Talk? Who can they expect to hear?
Well, for right now, the main cast of characters is going to be myself, and then our two producers downstairs, which is Matt Stoker and Zach Lewis. But now we're bringing in people all the time from around the building. I think last week we had the security guard pop in for a bit. We had someone from the 11th floor come down who's a receptionist. So there's always characters coming in and out, kind of keeping us up to date with what's going on in the building and what's going on around and what's trending around in the DFW area. So it's a fun, very interactive show. You never know what's going to happen from 1 minute to the next.
I love it. All right, Josh, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you back here next Monday morning at 10 a.m. Bye-bye.